Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I had some car issues that I had to get taken care of after school. That I ran into on my way to school. But uh, but I just wanted to kind of take a few minutes and make sure that I got us as prepared as we can be going into tomorrow's quiz. So here's the review worksheet that we had started the other day. Now, listen, on tomorrow's quiz, I'm not going to ask anything in terms of complex fractions. It's going to be all the questions that are kind of in front of you here on this worksheet. So the front page is all about simplifying. So we're going to simplify rational expressions. And pretty much, other than number 3, all of these other questions in numbers 1 through 7 are just about factoring and reducing. All right. So in something like number 1, you're going to factor the numerator. You're going to factor the denominator. And then once everything's factored, you're going to look to reduce by crossing out. And whatever's left will be your answer. All right, same thing in number 2, factor and reduce. Number 3 is a little different, and you will be asked a problem like number 3. Now, number 3 just involves basically rules of exponents. So I'm going to multiply across the denominator. 6 times 3 is 18. Multiplying x and x, I add the exponents. Y and y, again, add the exponents. All right, in the denominator, 8x cubed. All right, actually, it's going to be to the 4th power because this x over there, I didn't see it, but to the 4th power, and it's going to be y squared. All right, then I just have to reduce. 18 over 8 would reduce to 9/4. I got x to the 5th and x to the 4th up top, which means x to the 1st power remains up top, right? When you divide like bases, you subtract the exponents. Where the bigger exponent is, that's where its variable remains. The y's, right, y squared and y squared would just cancel one another out. Now, the next 2 questions involve multiplying, but really it's just factor and reduce. So I'll do number 5 here. I'll factor the numerator. And guys, these are very manageable trinomials. We shouldn't have any issue factoring these. All right, factor over here, factors of -10. That could give me -3, right? GCF here. And then cross out. These cancel. X plus 1's cancel. The x plus 2's cancel, which means we're left with x minus 5 over x. All right, and that's your answer. Just factor and cross out. Now, one small thing you have to worry about with division, right? With division, you have to remind yourself that you are going to multiply by the reciprocal of that second term. All right, so instead of dividing, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So again, other than just remembering that first step, everything else pretty much stays the same. We are just going to factor and reduce, right? Factors of 8, that could give me 6. That's now in my numerator. Factors of 20, that could give me a -1, would be in my denominator. X minus 5's are gone, the x plus 4's are gone, the x plus 2's are gone, and whatever remains, that's your answer. X minus 4 over x plus 7. So again, if you could do that front page, you have a really good understanding of what to expect as far as simplifying, multiplying, and dividing rational expressions. A lot of just factoring and reducing. Remember the steps needed should you be asked to divide. All right. The next few problems involve adding and subtracting, which is more challenging. Now, in something like number 8, you'll notice the denominators are the same, which means you don't have to make what's called your least common denominator. You would just have to add or subtract whatever is in the numerator. Now, be careful here because it is subtracting, but you're subtracting the quantity, not just one term. In other words, make sure you distribute that negative. And after that's done, I've said this in class, the hard part's over. What's left should just be grouping like terms, trying to simplify, in other words, trying to factor, and that numerator does. And this would be an example of sometimes when you factor, you're able to then go one step further and reduce. Right? Now, number 10, we have different denominators. Okay, clearly. But first thing I got to make sure is that I factor the denominator. So x minus 5 and x plus 5. Once my denominators are as factored as they can be, I'll make my least common denominator, which is x minus 5 and x plus 5. And I'll take it one fraction at a time and I'll compare. What is this denominator missing that that one has? Your answer is what you multiply the numerator by. Notice these denominators are the same, which means we don't have to touch the 2x. We just got to bring it down. So 3x plus 15 plus 2x. And again, from here, group like terms, try to factor, try to reduce. Again, the numerator here does factor. I can take out a GCF, which is 5. But this time, I got nothing I could cross out. But we still would factor it anyway. All right, I'll do one more problem. For those of you that tried number 12, your GCF, not that, it was just a little different than ones we've done in class. So I will not put something like number 12 on there. Maybe I'll ask that next week when we start working again with complex fractions. So we'll do number 11, and that'll be the end of the video. All right, so hopefully you've already done this worksheet, and you're kind of looking at this just, on top of all the other preparation you've done for the quiz. So ask yourself, first step in number 11 is what? If you answered to factor the denominators, you would have answered correctly. Next step would be what? Form what's called your least common denominator, which really just means let's get all these factors represented down here. All right. Once we have that, what do? Well, compare denominators and figure out what you have to multiply this first numerator by. And it's x minus 4. Figure out what we have to multiply this numerator by. All right. If you said x plus 2, you're right. So these are the types of questions that you want to be able to answer. Because if you can do that, and you can kind of tell yourself, here, these are the steps that I need to take, the math part right? You should know how to multiply. You should know how to group like terms. You should know how to factor. All that stuff we should know by now. It's just, okay, what are the steps I need to take in order to add, subtract a rational expression? All right? That's the part where students sometimes tell themselves, you can't study for math. Well, repetition helps. So doing the problems more than once helps. As well as kind of just laying out your plan. Understanding, hey, this is how I solve these problems. Right? Because, like I said, the hard part right now should be over. All that's left is for us to multiply. For us to group like terms. Now, I'm not going to rewrite this. I'm just going to say, all right, yeah, that's going to get carried over. And after we group like terms, we try to take out, or we did take out a GCF here, but we try to factor, we try to simplify. And again, by doing so, by factoring out that 6, that common factor in the numerator, look what happened. We're able to reduce and get our answer. All right. Again, you do not have to worry about number 12, something like that. I won't put something on there. The problems on the quiz will look like these 4 problems. All right. So guys, hopefully this video helped. Send me an email if you have any questions, and I'll post the answer key in addition. All right. Have a good one, guys.